Hello again, thanks for joining. Here's what we've got coming up in this episode. We've got the Lima Golden Series model here. It's number 149801 and it's a Deutsche Bahn ET433 car EMU. Let's check it out. Here's the box this model came in. It's quite impressive from Lima. It's got the Golden Series on the left hand side there, and you can see quite clearly the three parts of the EMU inside the box here in its polystyrene tray. I'm not a big fan of Lima. I think most of their stuff is a bit naff, but this might be different because it's Golden Series. So let's get this box open up and have a look at what we've got. We've got the lid off the box now and you can see the three models here held in their polystyrene tray. It's quite good packaging, they seem pretty secure in there, and I can also see that we've got some paperwork as well, so let's get these out and take a look. This is an instruction sheet which talks about how to power these locomotives with either the mains or some battery power. We've got neither of these controllers in this packaging, so I'm not quite sure why we've got this leaflet here. It's multilingual in Italian and English, and on the back we have French, German, Dutch and Spanish. So it's quite good that it's multilingual, but I'm not quite sure why we've got this with this set. There's another instruction sheet here which is talking about switching between two rail and overhead pickup. It's got a British electric locomotive there, which isn't what we've got here. So I don't know whether we've got this feature on this model. I guess we're going to check it out and find out. You'll have surely noticed that the colours on this set is really quite incredible. I really like the dark green and the cream colour, and there's a lot of decoration as well going on. This really does look like a nice model, so let's look at each one in turn. I'll start off with the closest one. This is the dummy power car. Straight away though I can see that there is a bit of a problem here. I did get this model second hand, so it's not brand new, and this is looking like some of the paint on the roof has been worn away. That's really a bit unfortunate that that's happened. While we're also talking about the roof up here, you can see that this corner here has a bit of fuzziness around the line here where the paintwork hasn't gone crisply around the edge of the cab. Talking of which, the cab looks really cool. It's quite space agey. It's got this nice curve to it, and you can see that it has the Deutsche Bahn logo on the front there along with the number 430409-3. So those transfers are really nicely printed onto there. You've also got these lights with these really nice silver surrounds. You can also see there's a bit of a problem with the paintwork up here. Again, it's just the masking between the grey and the cream. You'll notice that the glazing is very clear, but it's not very flush fit. There's a lot of plastic showing through there. As I move that around, you can see it does have windscreen wipers moulded into the plastic, and it allows you to look inside, but I can't see any driver's detail, although this does have an interior further down. It has a dummy coupling here with some yellow paint on it. The paint hasn't been applied that well, but it's quite a nice coupling. And you'll see this cream band running down the bottom of the bodywork here. So there are some painting problems with this as well. It's not solid colour. There's a bit of a blotch just right there in the corner, but at least it's very straight. So looking down the side of this carriage, you can see that it has some really nice glazing because it's so clear, and it has this bar moulded into the plastic with silver printed on it, and it allows you good visibility of the interior. So you can see it's moulded in brown there. There's some indication of tables. There's no passengers in this, so it might benefit from being opened up and passengers added. You can see a transfer here for 2, and another thing which I can't read, it's too small. And then the main doors here, they're very nicely detailed. They've got a silver handle, and they've even got glazing on the small windows there as well. In the middle of the carriage, again, there's the 2 for second class and these other logos, the Deutsche Bahn logo as well with the number again. There's another set of doors further down, another 2 here and another one here, and then finally the doors right at the very back. And as we look around the back of the carriage here, you can see the connecting door and a couple of lights and this plastic surround. And that actually looks quite cool, quite space agey looking. So up on the roof it has the pantograph here. It is a metal part which is sprung loaded, and it's very nicely detailed, and it's got this copper skid. I think it picks up power, but you can see that no power is transferred through the train to the power unit, so this must just be to power the lights in this one. There's an additional part attached up here, as well as some other details just at the end of the carriage. And as we work down the length of the roof, you can see various hatches and vents moulded into this. At the front there's a representation of a horn and a few other bits and pieces on the roof. Looking down at the bogies, there's some really nice detail moulded into here. This is quite deep relief, and there's a lot of rivet detail and pipe work moulded into this piece of plastic. And you can see that the wheels are a nice dull colour, very in keeping with the prototype, I would guess. In here you can see that it picks up power from these wheels, and I guess that's for the lights. Further down underneath you can see the Lima made in Italy, and there's no detail on the centre part here, but you will see just here that there's some hatches and grills on the side of the body which have been moulded very nicely there, and they've got some transfers printed onto them which I can't read at all here. I'm not even sure you can read that on the video. And finally at the other end is another bogie. It's not as comprehensive as the one at the front, but it is very well moulded and it's quite a quirky design. The brake blocks aren't in line with the wheel flanges though. And finally, the coupling here, it's quite a simple thing, and I guess it's just designed to couple up to the middle car attached to the bogie. It gives a lot of articulation as well, so that'll help this get round tight corners on your layout. So let's have a look at the middle coach. So again, the great colour scheme is applied to this coach, and it's got many of the features that the dummy driving car has got, such as this silver handle here on these doors, the same kind of end detail number 2 and the window with the bar on it, and you can see into the passenger coach there. On this half of the coach there's a yellow flash to signify first class. On the top of this carriage there is this metal wire running the whole length of the carriage. You would think that maybe carries current from one to the other, but there's no connection across here, so this is purely aesthetic. But it does look quite nice, and it's got these really nice insulators there moulded where the wire goes through. So the rest of it has very similar detail to the first carriage. There's not a lot of stuff up on the roof of these carriages. The bogies here look the same as the rear one on the driving car, and there's less hatches along the bottom of this carriage. We do get some at this point here again with transfers on them, but they're just far too small to see what has actually been said there. Again, the Deutsche Bahn logo, but this time the number is 830009-7. You can see on this bogie it has a little slot there which corresponds to the coupler on the driving car that we saw, and at the other end it's got the simple hook. So let's have a look at the power car. So unsurprisingly, this is mostly the same as the dummy driving car, and it also has the same problems here just at the edges of the cab where it's got a bit of fuzziness between the grey and the cream. There's a different design of door up the front here. I guess this is a driver's compartment, and the window arrangement is slightly different up here as well. But as we move down, it's a very similar thing where it's got these doors, various things printed on it. This time the number is 430109-9, and again some more transfers on these boxes which are too small to read. And here's the business end of this model, and you can see straight away the massive big motor inside there. So it's obviously driving this bogie here, and you can see the gear wheels there and the traction tyres. So it seems to just drive this bogie. There's no drive on the front bogie, but you can see that it picks up power. There's also some wires there going up to the pantograph, so I guess it can pick up from overhead, and it's the same kind of pantograph as we saw on the dummy driving car, and also there's similar detail on the roof to the first one. And finally at the back, the connection to the other carriages is exactly the same. But what you can notice here is a bit of overspill of the paintwork. The darker colour has not gone all the way around there, so there's a bit of a flash of cream. So let's see if we can get this working. So here we have it on a piece of test track. Now this is 3rd radius Hornby track, but you can see that because this model is so long, it's got a lot of hangover at the sides when it's going around the corners. So I guess that's something to be aware of if you have this on your layout. Anyway, let's give this a bit of power and see what happens. So it's not the best runner in the world, but at least it went without a push. I did notice that the lights came on as well, but they're so subtle you hardly notice it, especially in daylight. So this is one of the problems you're going to have if you have this model on tight radius corners. So you need to take that into consideration if you're thinking about getting this model. So I've just noticed here that there's a little switch that you can move to pick up from overhead or from 2-rail operation on the power car here. The moulding is also present on the dummy car, but it's just been blanked over. I think that's rather a cheap way of doing it. I think they probably could have just had a different moulding there instead of doing that. So we've seen how it runs. It's not too bad at all. Let's see what each of these weighs. Power car weighs 315 grams. The dummy power car weighs 207 grams. And the middle coach weighs 205 grams. So overall, this Lima Gold Series Deutsche Bahn 3-car EMU is quite an interesting model. I think Lima have done a great job in picking this particular EMU to model. It's got some great lines to it, the cabs are very characterful, and the paintwork looks really cool. So I think they've done a great job in picking that as being the inspiration for this model. It's got a lot of quirky things I like. The doors on each of the carriages are very interesting, and these models have got really nice pantographs with the option of either picking up through them or 2-rail operation as normal. The bogies as well are also very well moulded. There's a lot of detail on them and they look pretty cool, and together I think this set would look great running on your model railway layout. You will need quite a large layout for it though. Getting around corners, especially if they're tight corners, is going to be a problem with a lot of overhang on each of these coaches just because of the length of them. The actual mechanism inside the power car is a bit basic though. It's a shame that it just is so visible. I think if you were to run this past and keep it running it'd be fine, but the stop start is not very good, so maybe coming to a station and stop stopping and then starting again might look a bit unrealistic for this set. So my overall recommendation on this 3-car EMU is that you might want to consider it. It's got some really cool looks. If you're modelling Deutsche Bahn in the era of this EMU, then this would be a very interesting addition. It would be ideally suited for larger sets, so your home layout maybe wouldn't benefit from this, but if you have a club layout, for example, you might want to have this on it and running along. It would look really good. I'll put this on the turntable so you can see all the way around. Let me know what you thought about this video and my analysis of these models in the comments below. I'd really be interested to hear what you think. Please give this video a thumbs up. It really helps this channel, and you can subscribe for more videos like this in the future. But for now, that's it for today. See ya!